this is what I believe. A good friend, a really good friend, will tell you you have a booger in your nose.
That's true. Or broccoli in your teeth.
A
That's
bad
always
friend
fun.
will not.
Yeah.
They will just keep looking at it.
Or,
Right?
no. A bad friend will take a picture and post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's what a bad friend.
We got a show to do.
Yay.
Yeah, like best friends.
BFF.
Have you ever hung around, had a friend or somebody you just hung around a lot, like maybe me, and you started acting like them or talking like them
I hope not. I'm just kidding.
or finish each other's sentences?
Yes, we
yes,
do that.
we do that.
Really?
Really? See, we do that.
I can't believe. Wow.
But you know what I'm
It's true.
talking
We
about.
actually do that sometimes, or at least we think the same way. So that's not surprising.
Like I'll call you or text you, and
Yeah,
but
we've done that a
I
couple
was
times.
I was just about to.
And it's the weirdest thing because sometimes it would be like 12:13 and it's like exactly the same time. Like I just sent you and you were like in the middle of texting me
Yeah.
something and it's just a weird odd time and
Yeah.
yet we would do it at the same time like communication wise, which is crazy to think about.
Where does that come from?
We hang around each other a lot. We influence each other
Okay, a lot.
a lot.
I thought you were going to say too much.
Well,
T-O-O.
sometimes. Sometimes. The kids always tease me about that too because I'll say
What?
stuff like that you say. Sometimes they're like, "What?
Yeah,
Sound
when you
like you sound
so
like dad."
so you got a lot of intelligence.
Oh,
you
thanks,
you
dear.
you got book smarts,
Thank you.
right? I do not.
That's okay.
I got the street smarts,
Uh-huh.
which means I'm probably not going to talk with proper etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right?
Yes. It's because I've been influencing you.
No,
In a positive
I know
way.
some things, but anyway, what was I going to say? So I was going to say that the way you talk
Mm-hmm.
is above my level, right?
Yeah.
So I have to come to you and the kids. I have to go to you all, you three, for certain things. Like if I'm
Spelling.
writing something or whatever, like how do you spell this? And I have to go to the
You
kids
could
to ask.
any one of them. They'll both spell it right for you for the
Yeah.
most part.
And
pretty
they also
good.
they correct me a lot
Wow.
when I don't use proper
English.
proper English.
Yes.
They're like, that's not how you say it, and then they'll say it correctly. I'm like, yeah, I know, but you know how I grew up, and
Yeah.
And
Hopefully they don't correct you too much, but yeah, once in a while they.
anyway, my point
I
was
digress.
5 minutes ago I was trying to make a point that because you're at that level and I'm down here, when you say something, when you speak like I speak, I'm like, yes. But I don't know why I celebrate that
I don't either.
to bring you down a level.
I don't know. I guess that's the kind of a thing that people like to do, right? They like to bring you down to their level. And those are usually the people, sorry, but honey, you're not being a very good friend by
I'm
doing
not.
that. I want you to be up a level, not down a level.
Yeah.
I think I must be the better partner because I'm trying to bring you up.
You're not really being the better
I'm just
partner when
kidding.
you think you're the better partner because that's not humility.
I'm just teasing.
That's more of a boast.
I know, but I'm lifting you up by trying to get you to learn more. Because sometimes you're a little like etiquette or whatever. I always try to tell you, because I want you to be up there with me.
Can I tell you something?
No.
I think I forgot we were recording.
Did you really? That's hilarious.
Yeah, this is really us.
Yep. Yeah, we hold each other accountable, clearly.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And that's kind of how we're supposed to do things, right? As good friends, we hold each other accountable. We call each other out on certain things.
Good friends.
Whether I'm being boastful or he's being pushy, either way.
So, speaking of good friends, I this is what I believe. A good friend, a really good friend, will tell you you have a booger in your nose.
That's true. Or broccoli in your teeth.
A
That's
bad
always
friend
fun.
will not.
Yeah.
They will just keep looking at it.
Or
right?
no. A bad friend will take a picture and post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's what a bad friend will do.
But a good friend, they care about your what?
Your state of mind, how you feel,
Your well-being.
Your well-being. Yes, they care about those kinds
Yeah.
of things. When I was a young woman, younger than I am, hopefully now. Anyway, I'm trying to stay
Well,
young.
you're
Getting old.
every passing second.
I
you're-
know. Don't bring it back up. I shouldn't have brought that up. But anyway, no. One of my friends was really, I don't know, pivotal in my life. She's been there forever, and you know, when people were doing things around, and even she might be doing things that weren't great, she never was the type to push me towards doing those kinds of things. And in fact, a lot of the time I saw her protecting me from that kind of stuff. And to me, that is the kind of friend, you know, you don't want them to do the things that aren't great, but when they are that protective of you to like, be like, no, you shouldn't do this, even though, you know, it's kind of like, oh, well, you know, don't do what I'm doing. But that they're protective and they really care about you. I mean, to do that, to tell you the truth, to be honest, and to be like, you don't need to be doing that, or let's get out of here because this is wrong kind of thing. Like, that's the kind of friend that I think is really important. And so we talk about friends or peers, I guess we would say peers. What are your peers influencing you to do and act? Like, what are they saying? What do they say about you? Like, who you hang out with? Like, what are they saying about how you act and what you do?
You mean what are they actually
Yeah.
saying, or what does that say?
Exactly. The
What does that
second
say?
one, yes.
Okay.
Because, I mean, there's a lot, like, if you're hanging around with people that tend to be kind of, I don't know, mean and you know, make fun of people and those kinds of things, then, you know, you eventually, whether you know, can deny it all you want, a lot of time you'll get influenced, you know, and, you know, I'll get influenced if I'm hanging around somebody that is, you know, maybe not so thoughtful or whatever, and I can start being thoughtless as well.
Yeah, because I was going to say when you were saying that what are they saying?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you meant the other way. What are they actually saying to you to be like that you should be like?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, lots of times they're not actually saying anything to you.
Mm-hmm.
They're just being there. You're being there,
Mm-hmm.
and you pick up on it, and you just start being like them.
Yeah.
There's probably different reasons. Whether maybe they're more popular, a friend you might have, and you want to do. We talked about it last week, right? Like the influence, and you want to be like them.
Yeah.
It's either that, or you just, like I said, you hang around each other a lot, and you just become that.
Yeah.
You're not doing it sometimes. So you're not doing it for a certain reason. Sometimes you're just doing it because you're around it.
Or you really want to, you have low self-esteem and you really want a friend. So
Yeah,
you go along with stuff.
I'm talking about the one where
Yeah.
you do it unknowingly. You're not
Yes.
doing it for any reason.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be like them.
No,
for
it just
any
happens.
reason.
It just happens
Because
because the more you hang around with somebody, the more you're
You
going to take on their
you
characteristics.
become your surroundings.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
That's a very common, or very, you know, that saying. Yes, you become your surroundings is a
Yeah.
pretty popular saying. Yes, and exactly. I mean, that's who you like. You and me, like when we hang around each other.
So Bruce Lee said one time, I know it's kind of random.
Isn't everything we
It
say
sounds
random?
like it sounds cool,
Seems like-
but I'll explain it in a little bit. So we're water. This is not what he said, but I'm going to tell you what he said. So we're the water.
Mm-hmm.
You hang around, whoever you hang around, the company you hang around with,
Yeah.
if it's like a bottle, a water bottle or something, and you're the water, you pour into that bottle, you become that bottle, right? You become your surroundings. Now, Bruce Lee said it for a different reason. And again, if anybody knows that saying, it sounds like good advice, but maybe one day we'll dig into it. It's really not. I didn't really, at first I agreed with it, and now I don't because I'm learning.
Good job, babe.
But
High fives.
we'll talk about that.
I'm
I know I
learning
left a little cliffhanger there, but we'll talk about it sometime
Cliffhanger.
when the time is right.
When is the time, right? Anyway, okay, so yes, we're talking about peers, influences, and like the good and the bad. I touched a little on the good from my side of the spectrum, but I also know that there I can tell you one story. I had another friend that she had some really good qualities, but she also was very ooh,
Bad influence.
yeah, we'll just say that. And I started taking on those characteristics. Thankfully, I was enough aware of what I was doing and how it was coming out that I started like, whoa, I got to back off, and I backed off from that friendship. But
It's good that you recognize it, though.
yeah, you need to, yeah, a lot of the time we tend to not self-evaluate, and we really do need to evaluate where we're at, what we're doing, how we're saying things, those kinds of things.
Yeah, that goes for a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
You hear, we've known people personally. They get in relationships. I'm talking about like girlfriend boyfriend relationships, and they get into a bad relationship,
Yeah.
but they get so deep into it
Entrenched.
that and then it boom,
Yeah.
you're
Stuck, it seems like.
yeah, and
Yeah.
now they can't get out, and sometimes they don't want to get out,
Yes.
right? Because they
Yeah.
become so familiar with
Accustomed.
it, just
yeah.
like they become accustomed to it that like people who've been in prison almost all their lives,
It's like abusive relationship.
when they get out, I've heard so many stories. I
Mm-hmm.
never had always the best growing up, the best background. I've done a lot of bad things, hung around a lot of bad people. I've been the bad person. And so I know a lot of stories that people who were in prison for so long and then they get out, they don't know what to do with
Yeah.
themselves. They don't know how to function.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last week, when a kid's on social media apps constantly 24/7, and then they try to engage with the real person.
They get
don't,
anxiety. They don't know how to do it.
right?
They don't handle it well.
Because coming full circle, that social media is their relationship that they become connected with.
And you can have abusive relationships with your peers. You're talking abusive, really. I mean, that's what you're hinting at. I mean, coming from a previous relationship that I've been in, which was abusive, it was like everything was a different color. I don't know how to explain it exactly to the point, but once I got out of it, it was just everything was so unnatural. And it was just so weird and strange and foreign to me. I felt like I had been in a world, in a shell or something. And it was not... it was crazy. It was exactly what you're saying. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to act. I had been acting a certain way for so, seemingly for me, it was long. That when I came out of it, I didn't know what to do with myself, and I kind of went off the rails. When you get in those relationships with friends, even that can be abusive, like we've talked about like frenemies and that kind of thing before in past podcasts, but where it's just like abusive talk back and forth and it's common for you, you don't realize that those words really matter and they hurt.
Yeah.
And so we have to surround ourselves with peers, that people are in our age group that we want to bring home to our parents and be like, hey, check out my friend. And like they won't, maybe your parents won't look at them like, what in the world, because they're coming from a totally different background and whole different family life. And, and so
you become the water that went into the bottle.
Yeah.
And you became the bottle.
Yeah.
And then you got spilled out.
Or
of the
water
bottle.
spilled out.
You're the water.
Okay.
And now you're no longer part of that bottle.
So you don't know what to do with yourself.
And you just right there on the ground and you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to figure it out or you're going to evaporate.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I think when it comes to choosing your friends and those kinds of things, like as parents, right, we really need to get involved with who our kids are hanging out with. Whether it means, now as teens, it's hard to always get the answers you want from them because they're not always the most talkative about their buddies and what they're saying and all that. Or if you're like, when I ask Robert something like, hey, how's he doing? What's up? And you're like, oh, he's doing good. That's not enough information to go off of. I need to know more details so I know actually what is really going on. And so when I'm, with kids, it's really hard. So that's why I have to get involved, get to know their parents, get to know, what the kids are watching. And one way to do that is by inviting them over to your home and seeing what that child or teen or whatever friend or peer of your son or daughter is, what are they seeing? How they act, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there who do not even know their children's friends.
Well, a lot of time you can't because you're always on. They're more like text buddies rather than in person.
Yeah.
Hangout. The virtual, whatever. So you don't see it all the time, or they're at school, which
And it's
you don't
okay to the viewers. It's okay to do this to know who your children's friends are, or
Yeah.
who they're hanging around with, the groups they're with.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to know. You're not being
nosy. You're being a
nosy.
parent.
Yeah,
You're being a loving parent. I mean,
if you were trying to be a loving parent and said, you know what, I'm going to stay out of it and let them do their thing, then you're actually doing the opposite. You're not being a loving parent, because you're not. These kids' lives can get away from you real quick. I guess another way of looking at that is children at a certain age, I don't know, toddlers, just learning to walk, their minds aren't very, very developed.
yeah,
They know some things, but they don't know a whole lot.
yeah,
And they go running out into the road. You see a car coming, you run, or whether you see a car coming or not, you better get them out of the road. But let's say a car's coming, they don't know. They're having fun. They've got their little chalk on the road or blowing bubbles or whatever. You run over there and grab them as quick as you can. Grab them by the coat, the shirt, or whatever, and yank them out of harm's way. The kid is like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you just hurt me. That hurt. Like, had I not hurt you in that way, you would have got hurt
way worse.
a lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's where the parenting comes in, is getting to know their peers and understanding that it's okay to get involved and get a little nosy. And honestly, like when my mom would do that initially, of course, I'm like when I'm a teenager, I'm like, oh, she's so annoying because she's all in my business. Like, right? I can totally do that
Years,
still. I still can do that.
That's where you got to step up even more.
But
and be patient.
But I'll
parents.
tell you one thing. Knowing that my mom cared enough about me to deal with my smart mouth, and to get in my business, honestly now, it's so reassuring that I had a mom that cared enough. Because honestly, when we try to be so the chill, the cool mom, the this and that mom, what we end up becoming is a friend, but not somebody that they can totally turn to when it gets tough.
Yeah. If you try to be your child's friend before a parent, or sometimes not even a parent, you just want to be their friend, right? You want them to like you. You want them to love you. You want them to think you're cool. That's who they're going to be. Your friend. And friends are up and down. They're not always going to be there for you. You drop friends, you pick up new friends. You don't want that kind of relationship. They're going to grow up, when they get older, seeing you as that friend. Walk all over you. Who's calling the shots?
You need to be a parent. I need to be a parent. That's
you be a parent first, and then you can be a friend.
I need to be a parent that's not just a parent, but a good friend. And a good friend's going to tell you when you're doing something wrong.
A good friend
and get involved
is going to tell you when you got that booger in your nose.
Exactly. And so, actually, as being a good parent, you really are actually being a good friend in that moment. So you don't have to give one up for the other, because, like, again, like we said, a good friend. And that's the problem, is like, when we're so disinterested or trying to be the chill or the cool mom, I keep saying that, but it makes sense, is that, when we're doing that, our kids are suffering for it, because they're not seeing that we care about them. They're not seeing that we care enough about them to get in their business, and that to keep them from that road situation.
And again, as a parent, who are we doing that for? For the child, when we want to be their friend, or for ourselves?
Yes.
Do we want to be liked? Do we want to be accepted?
Exactly.
And it may seem nice for a while, and then it's going to get away from you so fast. And once it gets away from you, you cannot get it. Well, you can, but it's hard to get it back.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, when you're going to be just a parent, and be a parent first, and a good parent. A good parent doesn't mean you're all mean. The kid may think you're mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just pull them out of the street and you scrape their elbow. They're not going to like you very much, but they're going to thank you when they realize what just happened.
Yes.
Or what could have happened.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we can do, is just to be to be aware of who our kids hang out with, what their influences are, whether it's
It's again social media. Like
yeah, social media
sometimes
or
that's all
peer.
the friend they have, so you need to know that friend too.
Yes, and the peers, the people they hang out with at school, the people they come in contact with, no matter what it is. You also, if you are nosy like that, I'm telling you, you probably can stop some bullying situations, or at least get involved and know your kid's struggling. Because if you don't get nosy, you're not going to know if they're gonna if they're dealing with situations that are really, really, just harmful to them. And so
And I think if you do it right, the kid is more likely to open up to you,
yeah,
to talk to you about things.
turn off your social media
If you do it right. So again, you got to be a good parent, right? But not in a way where you're a parent and the kids, well, now they're afraid to tell you certain things because all you are is about scolding.
Yes,
So no, not that that
a little bit.
that has its place.
Utilitarian.
That
Yeah.
has its place, but you want them talk to them often
Yeah.
about anything and everything because
Yeah.
that's going to lead to an open communication. So like you said, if they're being bullied like in school, they're not going to tell you, but you do it right, like the way I just said, they're more likely to open up to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because real love is messy. Like loving somebody can
Tough love.
it can yeah, it can get messy. It can get kind of crazy in there. But your kids are going to know that you love them. I've told my kids this before in the past. I said, no matter what you do, whatever it is, know that I always will love you. Doesn't mean I agree with your choices. Doesn't mean I agree with everything you do. But no, I will always love you, and you can come and talk to me about stuff. And by doing that, you open up that wave of conversation. No matter what happens, you'll be there for them. You might have some consequences for them if they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But at least they know they can come to you.
Yeah.
It's an important thing
Yeah.
to share.
Sometimes they're not going to get a positive.
They're not going to get a pat on the back for something that's...
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you're going to
Affirmation.
give them a pat on the back.
Don't
Sometimes you're going to get
affirm.
them a pat on the rear.
Yes, don't
Right?
affirm bad choices. That's not good. But affirm that you love them and will work with you in your bad choices.
But regardless
Yes.
of what that outcome is, eventually they're going to understand.
Yeah.
Understand all that. Now, teenage years, yeah, it's going to be the toughest ones. And that's where you need to step up and be
Yeah.
on your game, be alert, be strong.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
You're going to have to pry a little bit.
If you need another parent to speak to,
Yes. Let's talk.
yeah, it's not easy, but it passes.
Yeah.
If you give in to those teenage years, then it's going to be a far more
The teenage
tough
years are
battle.
some of the most the teenagers are some of the most important years that we need to be involved in their lives, because that's when the development kicks into gear. That's when they are seeking identity and all those kinds of things. And so that is extremely important to let them know who they are. And like for our kids,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that's when. I mean, I was joking where you got to be tough and you'll get through this. Come on, buddy. Talking to parents, but what I mean is that's where you need to be more alert.
yeah, and
You
involved.
need to be involved in their lives even more during that time, because that's the make or break
Yes.
era
Yes.
or time in their life,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you got
The
to.
good news is we all make mistakes, and we're going to make mistakes as parents.
We've been there.
And yet there's grace for that.
Believe it or not, I was a teenager once.
So I think our main lesson is know who your kids are hanging around with. That's important because
Yeah.
you want them to hang around good influences. Because honestly, in the teen years, peers are the bigger influence in a teenager's life usually than parents. Now, if you have an open relationship, that may be a little bit different. The statistics may be in your favor, but for the most part, peers play a big role in your kid's life.
Yep. But we'll go ahead and get out of here for today, and we'll come back with one more segment next week to wrap this whole conversation up on positive and negative influences,
Gotcha.
right? So anyway, April, do you want to take us out with our words of wisdom?
Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is Proverbs 12:26. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Thanks for watching. If you like this show, hit that free subscribe button and share this video. We are on Facebook and Instagram. Also, check out our full-length podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. The links are provided in the description below. Thank you.